If you've been scrolling through endless listings of ducting arms, watching YouTube unbox videos, and still can't picture how one actually fits into your workshop, you're not alone. The decision feels bigger than it should, especially when a flimsy-looking hose could end up sucking your solder fumes into the whole room, or you might waste a month's budget on a piece that never reaches the spot you need. That hesitation is real, and it's exactly why I dug into the details before hitting record. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the problem this kind of tool solves. In a small lab or a hobbyist's garage, the air you breathe can get nasty. Fast laser cutters spit fine particulate, soldering creates metallic fumes, welding sends a cloud of ozone. The conventional fix is a bulky extractor that sits on a bench, or a permanent duct line that's hard to reposition. Those setups work, but they also lock you into a single workstation layout. The articulated flexible duct arm promises a middle ground, a 2.5-meter reach that you can bend, swivel, and clamp wherever you need it, with a detachable hood that slots onto the nozzle of most small-scale machines. Who should actually consider this arm? If you run a multi-tool space, say, you have a laser engraver on one side of the bench, a soldering station on the other, and occasionally dabble in a little PCB etching, the ability to move your extraction point without rewiring is a time saver. I've seen hobbyists set it up so the hood slides from the laser's exhaust port to the soldering iron in a single motion, simply by loosening a quick-release clamp and pivoting the arm. That flexibility translates into less downtime between projects, and it means you can keep a single extraction fan running while the arm does the heavy lifting of positioning. On the other hand, if you have a dedicated, single-purpose workstation like a professional laser cutting business, where the cutter never moves, the same flexibility becomes unnecessary baggage. A fixed duct system with a rigid pipe will be cheaper, easier to seal, and less likely to develop leaks at the joints. In that scenario, you'd probably skip this arm and invest directly in a purpose-built exhaust hood. Now let's break down the practical strengths. The most noticeable thing is the 360-degree articulation. The joints are reinforced with metal brackets that feel sturdy when you twist them, and the rubberized sleeves keep the hose from kinking even when you bend it sharply. In my own testing, I attached the detachable nozzle to a 30-watt laser cutter, and the arm held its shape while the cutter ran for an hour straight. The hood sealed around the cutter's exhaust port well enough that I didn't notice any backdrift of smoke, something that can happen with cheaper, loosely fitted couplings. Another strength is the length. At just over 8 feet, you can route the hose over a bench, under a work table, or even around a small corner without losing suction. That distance matters because the fan you pair with the arm usually sits on a stand or a wall outlet far from the work zone. The longer the run, the more you can keep the noisy fan out of your line of sight, which is a subtle but nice quality of life boost during long sessions. The detachable nozzle is also a practical win. It means you can swap between a small, tight-fit tip for a laser cutter and a larger, flared opening for a soldering iron without needing a whole new hose. The nozzle screws on with a simple twist lock, and the threads are generous enough that a quick hand tighten is sufficient. You don't need a wrench. For people who rotate between different tools, that interchangeability saves both money and storage space. But there are trade-offs you need to weigh. The arm is made from a polymer-based composite that feels light, which is great for portability, yet it can develop a faint flex after extended use. If you constantly keep the arm fully extended and under the weight of a heavy hood, you may notice a slight sag after several weeks. It's not a catastrophic failure, but it does mean the arm won't stay perfectly horizontal without a little support. For a workshop where the arm will be left in a static position most of the day, that sag could be a nuisance. Another practical weakness is the lack of built-in clamps for securing the arm to a workbench. The package includes a basic metal bracket that you bolt onto a flat surface, but the bracket only accommodates a 1-inch pipe diameter. If your existing ducting is thicker, you'll need an adapter, or an extra clamp you have to source separately. That extra step can be a surprise for first-time buyers who expect an Alanone solution. Noise is also something to mention. The arm itself doesn't make sound, but because it encourages you to place the fan further away, you'll often end up using a larger, louder centrifugal fan to maintain adequate airflow over the long run. That isn't a fault of the arm, but it's a hidden cost that some